This is International Roundups. I'm Dennis Aseto, KTN in partnership with Verde. We begin from the East Africa region, to be specific, the border between Uganda and the DRC, where locals in DRC are raising concerns after Uganda decided to block the border, with many saying that they are struggling. They do not know what to do because DRC depends on the Uganda border for goods and services to go to the country.
Since the border closure, we have faced many difficulties. Many goods that we used to buy in Uganda have increased significantly in price. For example, a product that cost 10,000 shillings is now sold for 11,500 or even 12,000 shillings. We are forced to raise our prices in turn to make a small profit, but in reality, we are suffering.
What
we are asking of the Congolese and Ugandan government is to collaborate so that preventive measures are respected. It would be good to allow people to move around while maintaining these measures because we are very worried about the rising prices.
Kwa mie tapasha ambia baongozi batusikilie na sie huruma kwa juu tuko nachunga batoto na tuko nachunga ba jamaa. Batusikilie huruma, batufungulie frontiere kuwe wazi juu mtu kama iko nafaa mchuruzi manake ataki kuenda iba anje faa maneno mbalimbali jo inatia mtu wafaa uchuruzi.
From East Africa, we go to the western part of the continent. Now, we are in Ghana, where President Mahama has said that Africa must learn from its past mistakes and its past records. Why? Especially when it comes to dealing with the health. Now, Ghana hosted the Africa Health Summit, and with that coming at a time when the continent is dealing with the Ebola virus, and also just not long ago, COVID, saying that Africa must chart its way forward and finding local solutions to local problems.
The question haunting this meeting today is simple. Are we builders of towers or we are merely erectors of scaffolds? The days when colonial tropical medicine could cast a continent as uniquely benighted and in need of missionary kind of episodic interventions are over. Africa now stands at a crossroads defined by its appetite for total health transformation. It can no longer allow itself to be perched on the periphery and cast as the destitute beneficiary of the largesse of some distant global health systems. If we allow these stereotypes to persist, a new wave of health conditions will dominate mortality in Africa by the middle of the century, taxing our demographic dividend before it is ever paid. And that is why the Presidential Council of the Accra Reset convened a high-level panel on reform of the global health architecture and governance to consider a root, stem, and branch transformation of the mindsets, policies, programs, and systems that define global public health today.
Let's go to Malawi, where refugees in Malawi are saying that they are afraid they might die of hunger. Why? Because the World Food Programme cut funds that would see them get fed. This coming after the shortage and cutting of aid that would help this specific demography. I want to ask the question, when all these is cut, who exactly is thinking about humanity? Take a look.
After August, if we do not get any funding, we will have to completely stop all of the assistance that we are providing. And that will mean all of these refugees will not have access to money to be able to buy food.
As we are all aware, the DRC, I think in the eastern part of the DRC, peace is elusive in that part of the world. And so we continue to receive on monthly basis around 300. And the bulk of those people are from the Democratic Republic of Congo. But also even when we look at the population in this camp, about 43,000 of people are from the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Let's talk about the war that continues to ravage the whole world. Now, CENTCOM released images showcasing 12 nights of war and attacks on Iran, with them saying that they are here to protect their interests and to protect the world. But is it so? Take a look. Many say, if you want to do something, you better come correct, man. You better prepare. That's exactly what Hegseth, who is the Secretary for War in the United States, is saying. For us to be able to win this war that is happening in the Middle East, they must get ready. They must prepare. And that ready they are getting there.
We know the best way to create peace is to prepare for war, to deter it. And that's exactly what the Department of War is doing, building a force so capable that it would be absurd for anyone to challenge it. As the direct result of neglected priorities and gross negligence that ignored threats left over from the previous administration, President Trump inherited a set of global and domestic crises, deferred maintenance almost across the board. Instead of steering the ship through gathering storms, former leaders let our military languish through social experiments and globalist appeasement, sheer weakness. Under President Trump, we have built a different type of department. The Pentagon is no longer run by bureaucrats. Instead, it's led by combat-tested veterans and world-class business leaders who are running the department like a business, and tech titans who are bringing lethal innovation to the battlefield.
Now, the war continues to affect different people differently. Now, Ed Miliband, who is the newly appointed UK Foreign Minister, told the 48th ASEAN Summit that they are getting affected too, especially in the pocket. But one asked the most difficult, or one would say easiest question: what role are they playing in ensuring that this war comes to an end, if at all it's affecting everybody differently?
We meet at a moment when the world is ever more unstable and uncertain. Devastating conflict in Sudan, in Palestine, in Lebanon and beyond. So we must inject renewed international energy and momentum to halt the suffering and to secure lasting peace. And I know in particular how much the Iran conflict is affecting our ASEAN partners. You are feeling as much as anyone across the world the daily impact on your economies and the living standards of your citizens, as well indeed as the impact on seafarers from many ASEAN nations. We too in the UK, in our own way, are feeling the effects of the conflict on families and businesses in the impacts on the cost of living. We very much welcome the MOU reached in June between the US and Iran, and the UK condemns in the strongest terms the unjustified attacks by Iran since then on shipping and indeed on our Gulf partners. As a government, I assure you, we will work intensively with others to seek to de-escalate this conflict and find a diplomatic way forward which is in all of our interests. That must include reopening the Strait of Hormuz and upholding the fundamental principle of freedom of navigation, a principle that the maritime nations around the table know better than anyone is so important.
Now, the 48th ASEAN Summit saw many people meet and discuss about different things. And this time round, we're talking about trade, regional security, and Taiwan. And yes, you guessed it right. It's between United States of America and China as they met to have discussions on how they will pursue all this together. Take a look. Former Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, together with the wife, have pleaded not guilty to the ongoing trial in the United States of America. This as trial judge has set 1st of June 2027 as the trial date. This despite Americans themselves thronging the judicial quarters as they protest against the ongoing trial, saying that it's against the law. Let's go to South America. President Lula da Silva has said that the Brazilian population and the economy will outdo and outmaneuver the shocks and tariffs that have been issued by the United States. This as he went forward to unlock funding that would go into the economy to cushion businesses.
Utilização de recursos Estamos demonstrando com esse Brasil Soberano 3.
We are demonstrating with this Brazil Soberano 3 that there is no crisis that can prevent Brazil from continuing on its path, from continuing with a growing economy. And today, there are very few countries growing more than Brazil. Even if Brazil's growth is not that of our dreams, but we are going to finish the term growing by almost 3% over the 3 years of government. What few countries have achieved? Increasing our exports, that is, increasing exports, including oil, and making the growth in oil revenue obtained by us serve so that we use part of the resources to guarantee the functioning of Brazil Soberano and the policies that we are carrying out together with the governors and together with other sectors of the economy. The abrupt decision of the US government to think that by applying the tariffs it imposed without informing everyone, without speaking to anyone, the world was going to collapse. What is happening in the world? People are learning to move around. People are learning to talk with other people with whom it seemed they did not know how to talk. People are learning to speak another language. People are learning that there are other currencies, other markets, other people willing to buy and other people willing to sell.
Now let's go to France, the city of love. Many would say Paris is that. But here, the Louvre has reopened, but something is missing. Now, since last year when the Louvre was closed, it has reopened, but missing is the crown jewels worth 88 million euros following the heist that happened last year. One says the thieves went, left, never to be seen.
I'm really happy to be here on the first day in the morning because maybe a lot of people don't know about the open of this gallery, and I think this is the new history of the Apollon Gallery. So I'm happy that this is open.
Where are you from?
Iowa.
I think that's a bit expensive to have removed all the jewelry. They didn't take all the jewelry. They took the most expensive pieces. There were hundreds of other works that might have interested us. There would have been no intention of stealing them. The small objects that were in the display cases there, everything is gone. Even what Napoleon had stolen from Germany, even that was removed. I don't quite understand why.
Je comprends pas tout très bien.
The point when I was here in 2019, I visited this gallery, one of my favorites, but I heard the news about the robbery, but I wasn't aware that was this specific gallery. So I'm very happy that it's being reopened for the public, for the audience. It's fantastic.
Now let's go to Chile. And the Chilean beaches have been invaded. By what exactly? By foam. Yes, they have been invaded by foam. This following a storm that hit the country that has now seen this phenomenon taking over the beaches where many would come to enjoy the sunsets and the sunrise. This time round, it's an invasion of foam. There's a country that is on the coast that is called Cabo Verde. Many want to call it Cape Verde. But its amazing run at the World Cup has seen the country put on the spot a different way. Many say World Cup is the saving grace that has put Cabo Verde, not Cape Verde, on the map. This is the beautiful story.
We chose Cape Verde because it had been a destination we wanted to visit for a long time. We had heard that it's a wonderful place to live and visit. And it's true, Praia is an incredibly beautiful city.
Because we love the island and we love Africa. And I have a friend to recommend this country. They tell me the beach is very beautiful, the food is very amazing, and we talked with my husband and we decided to visit here.
And this week we continue with that conversation we had with Iranian ambassador to Kenya, Ali Ghulampour, on different issues, including the war that they continue to experience back home between the United States of America, Iran, and Israel. This is that conversation.
The world was hopeful finally that there was the recent ceasefire and that it would stay. I remember we had that conversation. We were hopeful that it would stay, and finally the world would go back to how it was. What happened to that ceasefire that today we are finding Israel saying they're ready for, United States saying they're ready for, not even willing to have this conversation?
As you know, and everybody knows, the Strait of Hormuz, before the aggression that happened, it was open. Yes. So all the vessels were free for the passage. It was no charge to be imposed on them and nothing. But when they used the Strait of Hormuz for attacking Iran, when the navies, military vessels go through and they attack your territory, so you have to defend yourselves. We have to keep in mind that the Strait of Hormuz is located in the territorial waters of Iran. So Iran and Oman, as the two littoral states, they have the right to apply their arrangements for passage for the purpose of securing the security, safety, communications, the conservation of the environment, and provide all these services, the maritime services to the ships. After the aggression and the war, the Iranian authorities and people came to this conclusion that we cannot allow any longer this strait to be used for arming the bases in the region or passing the military vessels and ships of the hostile and belligerent countries or regimes to attack Iran. That's why they declared that from now on, the Strait of Hormuz, the regime that is governing this strait, is different. We have to secure our security, national security, and that's why we apply some arrangements, and we determine a channel for passing. And all the ships that are wishing to go through, they need to declare, and then go through without any charge, and it's free of charge. We will not impose any charge on the passage. But of course, if any sort of services are provided, like environment conservation activities, rescue, and search and rescue activities like communications, any other sort of service, of course, they would be subject to the charge, but the passage itself is free. This agreement, this kind of arrangement, was reflected exactly into the MOU that was signed between Iran and US. In the fifth part or article of that MOU, it's clearly explicitly and clearly indicate that Iran will determine the channel and all the ships should go through this channel. But against this agreement and the commitment that is there, the United States contemplated with some littoral estates, and they opened another channel different from our channel for the passages. And that's why our authorities just declared that, look, we are not able to allow the passage by the belligerent countries, by the military and navies of the hostile countries that are attacking Iran. That's why they don't allow to be operationalized the channels. They have again declared that all the passengers are free, but it should be through this because we want to make sure that this passage will not jeopardize the security and integral territory of Iran. So that's why, the United States, they didn't abide with their commitment to follow this agreement, the MOU, and they started to attack Iran. You know, every night they attack and, you know, launch missiles here and there and kill innocent and civilians. So, and then destroy the infrastructure.
Yes. I want us to talk about two issues here, which would be, is there hope of finally finding a solution to this? And also just talk to us about the funeral of the Supreme Leader and how that was at home and what that means to the people of Iran.
Yeah, you know, of course there should be a solution because nobody will be benefited from war and continuation of the war. You know, we are acknowledging that the state of blockade that the United States has imposed on the Strait of Hormuz right now, you know, it will affect the other countries, including Kenya and African countries. It will, you know, cause increase in the prices for fertilizers, for fuels, for energy sectors, for all these, trade commodities. So nobody will be benefited. Even our country, we will not benefit from blockade. But it is something that they are following and imposing blockade. So there should be a peaceful in the end, because we don't see any resolution to this conflict by military tools. Although Iranian military forces are ready to respond immediately and firmly and decisively to any sort of aggression against a country, and they have done so. But, you know, eventually our government and our authorities, they are declared that we are ready to sit together and resolve these issues in a peaceful manner. But the United States and other countries who are involved, they should also respect their commitment and undertakings, and not to commit act of aggression against Iran. So it means that up until that time that they continue their aggression, their military attacks, from our side we will defend ourselves, we will respond, and the situation is...
Yeah. And finally, just talk to us about the funeral.
And the funeral, you know, was very significant in terms of showing how the United States and Israel, they breached international law, they committed a war crime in assassinating a leadership in an established government like Iran with a sovereignty as a member to United Nations Charter. So they did it against all international rules, principles, and norms. So it was an act of aggression, a war crime, and of course it should be followed in one way or another for their, they should be taken accountability and be responsible before the people of Iran, before the international courts, but the point is that when we had a ceremony, we also had almost more than 90 foreign delegations who officially participated in this funeral, and many of them were at the level of, you know, the head of states or the speakers of the parliaments, foreign ministers. So it was really a huge kind of manifestation that, look, we are against all these atrocities, all these aggressions and violations of international law. The second point was that Iranian people, and also many other peoples around in Iraq, in Pakistan, and many other countries, and even in Kenya, we had, you know, very good commemoration ceremonies held. In Iran, millions of people, they participated in this funeral ceremony, and they showed their loyalty, their commitment to their supreme leader, to their country, and that was very symbolic and significant, to showing to the people of world that, look, how it happened and how now the Iranian people are celebrating this.
I want to say thank you very much, Balozi, even as the world continues to hope that finally we will get peace that we are looking for, because like you've said, rightfully so, no one is a winner in continuous war. At the end of the day, peace must be found. Thank you very much. And,
all the best.
All the best.
Thank you so
we look
much.
forward to going to Iran as well. And
sure. We are looking forward to receive your request for going, and we will arrange for that.
Thank you very much.
Foam has invaded Chile. People are not enjoying what the beaches in Chile have to offer. This as we continue to have this conversation with the ambassador to Kenya, Ali Golampo, that is the Iranian ambassador to Kenya. And with that as well, there is the phenomena that is now happening in Cabo Verde, the amazing run in the World Cup. The just concluded World Cup has put the country on the global map. All these on KTN in partnership with Verde. I'm Dennis Aseto.